welcome to back to the Pro Rick exclusive YouTube channel on relationship Stonewallers. This is part 3 of this series with our friend from Looking Behind the Mirror. I don't know her name. I would introduce her if I did, but nevertheless, I enjoy her presentation. She's a very gentle, conscientious woman. Let's see where she's going now on the subject of relationship stonewalling.
Is to worry about. If somebody's really that upset with you, it's up to them. The burden is on them to say something to you, to communicate, to reach out. It's not your job to try to read someone's mind. And to give you some specific examples of how deeply I let...
This is really so helpful. I've had to say to some women, you're so absent. I can't read your mind. I don't even know how you feel. And they'll come and have sex and that, all the sex they can get, but they're just not present emotionally. And once you pull them into line, some will come out of it and others will come out of it for a minute and then go back into themselves. You've really got to accept that it's basically they're not interested in talking to you. They don't want to. It's not necessarily malicious. And sometimes we don't want to talk, right? That has to be accepted as well. But this is unusual lengths of quietness that actually cannot be justified for somebody in a relationship. I'm going to say this again. This is long lengths of no communication within an exclusive relationship that cannot be justified.
This affect me, and also kind of the crappy ways that this was done on purpose to mess with me. In one relationship I was in, this was done to me quite often, where this person would sit just like bringing a rain cloud into the room, just
it's abuse.
Grumpy, just very intimidating. This person had a very big, heavy presence and just seemed really upset all evening. And I felt like I was walking on eggshells. I felt very nervous. I was weighing whether or not I should ask if something was wrong. I was kind of waiting to see if this person would bring something up. I mean, I was really living in a state of fear and nervousness. And I remember there were a few times where I would get the nerve up to ask, is something wrong? Are you okay? And this person would look at me really intensely and say, yeah, why? Are you okay? And I look back and I wish that I could really convey how unnerving that really was when this was being said to me, because it's like this person knowingly was sitting there working me up by doing and saying nothing, just sitting there intimidating me with a very ornery presence, and then flipping the whole thing around on me if I tried to bring anything up, if I tried to communicate, by suggesting that I'm the one that must not be okay. I must be imagining things. And that was really unsettling, and it just kind of left me really confused, because I knew that there was no way this person was giving off this kind of energy for no reason. So
yeah, don't let these people confuse you. Just go, that's a dickhead. I haven't got time for you, and get on with what you've got to do. Don't be in a relationship with these kind of sulks and undeveloped imbeciles. Sorry to be so blatant, but let's start calling things for what they are. There are people that are trying to be in exclusive relationships and they haven't got a clue.
Looking back, I realized that this was really all done just to mess with me, just to make me feel uncomfortable, just to make this person feel in control and
it's
powerful.
Emotional violence.
But if I could go back to that moment, if I could go back to those moments that was happening to me, I would know now just to ignore it. If somebody doesn't want to talk to me about why they're upset, it's not my problem. I don't need to sit and worry about something that really isn't even happening. Now, a little later,
That's right. You've just got to go. We're dealing with an arsehole here.
Later in my life, I was in a different relationship with somebody else who was extremely narcissistic and would give me the silent treatment all the time. And this was a little bit different. The dynamics were a little bit different, but it was very similar in other ways. And this was a relationship in which I finally started to understand what was happening. I finally started to see the patterns for what they were. And the silent treatment was done to me quite a bit in this relationship, and I was always, like before, trying to figure out what I did wrong, what was going on, why this person seemed so upset, and how I could fix it. And when I finally understood that what I needed to do was just to ignore somebody that isn't communicating with me, if they're going to ignore me or just say, no, I'm fine, if I try to ask if anything's wrong, then why should I sit and worry about it? And there were a lot of things going on with this particular person. I was at a point where I was completely convinced that this person was doing the silent treatment in order to get a reaction out of me. And it always worked, you know, and it's like this silent little dance. It's really quite insane. But there's one person giving the silent treatment, and there's the other person, me, kind of like panicking and trying to figure out what's wrong and maybe doing some nice things or maybe trying to think of things that this person...
Sometimes, guys, you've just got to call these people arseholes. They're not giving you the attention that you deserve if you're in a relationship with them. They need to have the same level of ignorance from a partner that they've got, and you let them go. You get out, you walk away.
Wants me to do, and not really confronting the issue, not communicating. And if I ask if something's wrong, being ignored or being told, no, nothing's wrong, but me still trying to figure out what's going on. And me being in kind of a state of frenzy a little bit. I think this particular narcissist took a lot of pleasure in seeing me become distressed, trying to figure out why I was being given the silent treatment. So
when somebody gets you into this state, walk away, guys. Just walk away. You're not as important as you're trying to think that you are. You've got to humble yourself, be unselfish, and let these people go. You haven't got the value for them to make the effort.
I finally got to a point at the very end of this relationship where I started ignoring the silent treatment, which is really, there's no reason not to ignore it.
And so now I've done this before, and now you've got two fucking idiots that are not playing the roles that they should in the relationship, and you go to yourself, I'm not lowering myself to this level. I'm going to find someone that communicates. And sure enough, you do, and away you go again. Some people are just too lazy. They're not self-aware. They're not aware of you. And really, honestly, they're not worth having in your life.
If somebody wants to talk, then they should talk to you about something. So it was really quite bizarre when I started just acting like I didn't notice that this person was giving me the silent treatment. I just went about my business as if it wasn't happening. And this person's behavior escalated very quickly. And it became obvious that this person was doing this to get my attention, to work me up, to upset me. Because when I pretended that I did not notice that I was being given the silent treatment, I could see out of the corner of my eye, this person would he would leave the room, then we'd come back, and he got to the point where he was actually acting like a child. And I should say this person was 40 years old.
100%, because it's infantile behaviour. It's absolute infantile behaviour. It's unacceptable.
So this wasn't a child. But I remember out of the corner of my eye, he actually started kind of flailing around and looking at his phone like he was trying to ignore me harder than he had ignored me before, because the level at which he was ignoring me wasn't getting the same reaction. And he was actually flailing around like a teenager, like he was doing this with his phone, like he was trying to get my attention by gyrating.
Yeah.
Like almost like a teenager that wants you to finally ask, what's wrong?
Yeah.
I don't think I need to apologize for the fact that I actually took a lot of pleasure in watching him work himself up like that and act that way after everything he had put me through up to that point.
100%. You've got to turn it back around, meet them where they're at, and just remove yourself.
It was nice to see him get frustrated for a change, but things didn't last very long past that, thank goodness. My point is that the silent treatment had nothing to do with anything that I had done. The silent treatment, when narcissists are engaging in the silent treatment, it's not because you did something wrong, and it's not because you need to do something. It's not because you're not doing enough. It's because they are either bored, or they want to assert their dominance, or they want to assure themselves that they can control your emotions. And when you sit and worry about it and try to figure it out, you feed into that and you encourage them to do it again. You encourage them to use the silent treatment as a method to reassure themselves that everything's fine, that they're in control. I mean, it's a source of supply for them, if you want to call it that. And to address the title of this video, the silent treatment
It's emotional violence
abuse,
in the passage
I want
form.
to talk about how it affects people. Having the silent treatment used against you by somebody that's supposed to be a very important part of your life, somebody that you love, someone that you trust.
This is the latest trend. I mean, honestly, these people, they will not communicate. It's a clear sign that they are not overly interested in you. They might say they are and they turn up for all the goodies and that, but if they're not practicing communication, they're communicating with somebody else. I know a lot of people have internal communication with themselves, and it can, that can be satisfying as they go through their day, just being with themselves. I have that, but if I'm in a relationship with somebody, you do want to talk, even if it's for 5 minutes or something, and a lot of these people just won't.
Someone that you rely on for the bulk of your human interaction in this world, it's very emotionally damaging. It's minimizing. It's very hurtful.
It's emotional violence in passive aggressive form, whether the people want to accept that or not. It's absolute negligence in its highest passive form, and you shouldn't be in a relationship with these people.
It's a way to communicate to someone that they don't matter,
Yes.
that they're not even worth looking at or
Yes.
acknowledging, they're not worth wasting breath on. It's
Yep.
a way to make people feel like they have no control over the relationship or control over the ability to communicate in the relationship. It makes people feel small and insignificant and unimportant. And it also causes stress and worry and panic. It's very distracting. It's hard to focus on anything else when you're just wondering why somebody that's so important to you seems to be so upset with you. It can make you feel very alone, very isolated. It's a form of
This woman's so good at what she does, because she's nailing it. She's absolutely nailing these people to the wall.
emotional abandonment or emotional rejection, and both of those things can be traumatizing.
It's
if
emotional
coming from
violence.
somebody that you rely on, somebody that has a very important emotional meaning to you in your life. You're being rejected and abandoned by somebody that you need to interact with, to have healthy emotional connections with, and it isn't normally acknowledged. So these things are happening to you. You're being minimized and smushed into this little ball where it's being made clear to you that you don't matter, and you're being abandoned and rejected and all these things, and you're just imagining the whole thing. Usually if you try to say something about it, if you try to communicate, you're being told that, no, I'm fine. Why? Something wrong with you? Or what? I can't just watch TV in peace? What do you mean? No, nothing's wrong. If you've ever experienced somebody that does this to you on a regular basis, I'm sure that you will understand why I consider this emotional abuse, especially when it becomes something that you almost become accustomed to. It really erodes your soul, your sense of self. It makes you wonder if you should blame yourself for what's happening, and it shrinks you down to nothing while really remaining invisible itself.
So
because really
true.
the silent treatment is nothing. I think somebody's cutting wood outside. Anyway, I'm about done. I just want to say that nobody does this to people that they care about. Nobody that loves you is going to treat you this way
100%.
and make you feel this way and stress you out this way. Anyone that does this unknowingly is too immature to be in a relationship with somebody. And
That's the point. That's the point that I made at the start. These people aren't mature enough. They're not skilled enough to have a normal relationship.
Anybody that does this on purpose is too cruel. There are lots of people in this world that aren't going to play these kind of games with you, that aren't going to purposefully hurt you for their own entertainment and to feed their own ego. I don't have any patience for people that do this to other people. People that feel the need to use the silent treatment in order to punish others are people that, in my opinion, should really just be alone. I hope this helps. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And comment.
What a fantastic presentation that's so relevant today. Please subscribe to this lady's channel, Looking Behind the Mirror. She's such an asset to people that are struggling. This is Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison on the ProBrick exclusive YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me, and bye for now.